So I did a thing. If you haven't guessed it already, I have finally created my YouTube channel, Tech Lounge. This is something that you guys have been asking me for the longest time. I won't lie, I've also been procrastinating for the longest time, but we're finally here. The concept that I had in my head was to create a relaxed, calm space where you can just come, chill, and talk about tech with fellow tech enthusiasts, people who are starting to get into tech, people who are trying to get into tech, right? So this is a community that I'm hopefully trying to build on YouTube, based on tech and AI. So basically everything tech and AI, really. That's the goal, that's the vision that I have. For those who don't know me, I am Orabutse Bikanyo. Just a brief history about myself. So I did my BCom in information management in 2015 to 2018. I then did my BCom honors in business informatics. I recently finished my master's in informatics, and now I'm doing my PhD in information systems. So yeah, it's been a rough journey, but well worth it. I will not lie. Again, if this is something that you'd like me to talk about, something that you'd like to hear more of, you need guidance on, you can just drop a message in the comment section and we can get in touch and see how to work around that. So career-wise, I then started working in 2018 for a IT distribution company, I did that for 3 years. Basically, I was a pre-sales engineer, solutions engineer. Yeah, they like using those terms interchangeably in IT. Does the same thing. I sold software, predominantly Microsoft, right? So I'm a Microsoft guy. I will admit one of the reasons I started this channel was to diversify, right, and branch out into Google and AWS. I like what they're doing in AI. I think it's something that I want to learn and get into as well. So there we go. We can do this together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I then moved over into IoT. So to explain IoT, we take the real world and we digitize it. So we can connect your fridge, your car, your generator, the room to the internet, feed off of that data and give you analytics. That's essentially, in a nutshell, that's what IoT is. If I bring this example home, if you look at your smartwatch, you are able to see how many steps you've taken, how many times you've trained this week. You're able to see your heart rate. You can monitor your sleep, right? It takes all of that information, it puts it on the app for you, and based off of what you see or the analytics that it gives you, you can make lifestyle changes. Same concept. We can tell you the quality of air in the room. How many people are in the room? Is your generator running smoothly? Is there enough petrol? The temperature? Is there enough food in your fridge? Smart fridges, right? So all of this basically is the same as IoT, right? Or is IoT rather, sorry. So I designed those solutions for about 3 years as well. One major project that I really enjoyed working on was tracking gas cylinders. That was fun. You can just imagine the intricacies of gas cylinders and battery components and how to make sure that's safe. So that was the highlight of my career in IoT. So I was a solutions engineer for about 3 years. I then later moved to becoming a solutions engineer for virtual agents. Virtual agents are chatbots, right? But I need to clear something up. We have now probably 15 different kind of chatbots, but essentially for this example, I'll just give you two. The first one is your LLMs. So LLMs are large language models. This is your basic chatbots, your Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, the works. Those are known as LLMs. And then we created virtual agents. So these are more customer facing. So when your DSTV server stops working and MultiChoice gives you a number to contact on WhatsApp, and you're greeted by a chatbot that requests you to send your smart key ID before it can help you, that right there is a virtual agent. That is what we created. Not to say that's the one I created, but it's just the closest example that I could use. So I did that for about another 2 years, 3 years as well. I've created bots for banks. I've been on projects for banks, car manufacturers, debt collectors, just different industries. And it's also one of the reasons why I really fell in love with AI, and I saw the potential of AI. Hence my dissertation and thesis are based on AI topics. So yeah, that's been really fun so far. And then at the moment, I'm working for probably South Africa's largest telco. I might even stretch it to Africa's largest telco, right? So I do connectivity and IoT there as well. It's been fun. It's been a fun journey. And now I'm also just trying to channel my skill set into AI, harnessing or honing on the IoT aspect, right? Because the more I read about it, the more it's confirmed that IoT is going to be needed for AI to develop, right? Because that's where I'd say the computing power, that's where the sensors are. So that's where the data comes from. And if you want AI to really be powerful, it needs to have solid and premium data. So that's one stream to get really proper data into AI and increase its capabilities. Okay, so enough about me and what I do. In this video, we are going to tackle the major question that I am always bombarded with after I give people the speech that I basically just gave you, and I tell them what I do. And that is, how do I break into IT? How do I get into IT? What do I need to do? Where do I go for information? So we are going to cover that right now. Without further ado, let's get into it. So you want to get into the tech industry. So there's a couple of ways to do this. And I'm just going to share a few that have worked for me personally and a few other people that I know. The first one would be learnerships. So you can go to institutions such as Talk IT and Mesa, and basically what we're going to be talking about right now, they already have it. So they pre-bundle all the skills, all the courses that are needed, and they roll it out in a 6-month plan. And after the 6 months, what they do is they have partner companies where they place you. So you'll either get a internship role or a junior position based on how you perform and the available roles at that company. This usually lasts a year. It can be shorter, actually, depending on how well you do at the company, how quickly they absorb you. But essentially for me, this has been the quickest way to actually get into tech, gain experience, and start, developing your career in IT. Learnerships usually are targeted towards people who just left matric, but if you are doing a degree, it's something that you can do. This is how I did it. I did them simultaneously with my degree, and it's been the best decision I've ever made. If you already have a degree, you can look at graduate programs. Okay. If you already have a degree, you can look at graduate programs. Top tech companies usually have yearly take-ins, and how it works is you'll have a 2-year contract where they scale you up for those 2 years for your role. So you'll be allowed to make mistakes. You'll have a mentor that will guide you. You'll have courses that you and exams that you take to build out or build up that skill set. And after the 2 years, the company will absorb you to take up the role that you've been trained for. So those two are the easiest ways, but if these are not options that you can pursue, we can then look at CompTIA. So CompTIA is a IT skills based company, right? They deal in upskilling people in IT skill sets, and the best foundational courses and probably recognized worldwide is CompTIA A plus and N plus. So we're just going to quickly look at their website, and I'll also walk you through and show you how to navigate their website and how to actually read up on these courses, buy an exam voucher, get course material, all of that jazz. So let's get into that. So this is what the landing page of CompTIA looks like. It is a bit overwhelming. I'll admit that myself as well. But at the top, on the second tab, you'll see certifications. So that's where I want you to navigate to. And again, you'll have more options on the black tab. So these are all the skill sets that they offer to date, right? They're always expanding. They're always working on more courses and exams that they can offer people to upskill on. But I want us to look at the last two, right? Tech support and networking. So A plus, you're going to find under tech support. N plus, you're going to find under networking. So let's start with tech support. Under tech support, A plus will be the first option. Just click on learn more. And here you'll have all three options. So I don't want this to confuse you, but essentially, if you just want to know about A plus core 1, you'll select the first one. If you want to learn about A plus core 2, you'll select the second tab. If you want to know about all three, you'll select the third tab. So for the sake of time and not increasing the length of the video, we'll look at A plus core 1 and 2. But please feel free to come back and read up on them individually if this is something that you're looking into. Cool. So just to go over the description, right? So A plus core 1 and 2 with V15. I'll get back to what the V15 means shortly. So start your career with CompTIA A plus, the industrial standard certification for entry-level roles, trusted by employers worldwide. A plus builds foundational skills in hardware, software, networking, troubleshooting, security. The latest version, V15, is updated for today's technology and prepares you for roles like IT support specialist, desk help, technician through 2 exams, core 1 and core 2, right? So there you have it. So again, you have to write core 1, you have to study core 1 before you can study and write core 2, right? And then here on the far right, this is what your badge will look like, or your certification that you'll actually be able to post on LinkedIn or add to your CV. So that's just a nice Easter egg for you there. So going back to the V15, so this is basically version 15. So after every 3 years, they update the course or the syllabus, right? This is to make sure that what you're learning is not legacy technology, you're learning the latest stuff in tech as well, because we both know that tech is advancing at a rapid rate. So this is one way that CompTIA makes sure that whatever you're learning is relevant for that time or in that time, right? That you're actually pursuing the certification. So we'll stick to the overview, and this is the overview of the objectives of the certification. So the first one being core 1 is the first one. So they're going to be testing you on mobile devices, and this is going to be 13% of the exam, right? So looking at hardware setup all the way to troubleshooting. Yeah, troubleshooting is going to be a big part of what you do, right? In the exams, in the course, even in the job roles, right? Or if you're going to pursue being a support technician, a network technician, troubleshooting is probably going to be a huge chunk of what you do every day. Networking is going to be 23%, so protocols and ports, all the way to networking tools. Then you have hardware at 25%. So this looks at component installation, motherboards, and power. Then you have visualization and cloud computing. So if you're into cloud computing, this is something that you actually do need and should pay attention in. So that's going to be 11% of the exam. And then at the very bottom, you have hardware and networking troubleshooting. Again, troubleshooting is coming up at 28%, and it's going to cover diagnosing issues and troubleshooting tools. So these are going to be your best friends, right? This is going to be the bulk of what you need to learn and are going to learn in this course. Now, one thing I want to highlight, please don't let these percentages scare you. This doesn't mean that you have to spend more time on hardware and network troubleshooting and totally forget about virtualization and cloud computing, right? When you read through the courseware, when you go through the course itself, they are already rationed in this order, right? So all you need to do is just apply yourself, read through the coursework, do all the exercises, practice, and you'll be fine. This is just showing you what you're going to be learning in the course and if it aligns with what you want to do. So this covers Core 1. Core 1 is on the easier side of CompTIA exams and certifications. And I'll show you why I say that a bit later on, but this does not mean you shouldn't apply yourself, right? But it is the easiest certification to get under CompTIA. Now we're looking at Core 2. So Core 2, 28% is going to be operation systems. So OS installations and file systems. Then going to look at security, which is 28% of the exam. So this is going to cover security measures and malware prevention. Again, no surprises. Software troubleshooting is going to be 23%, right? OS issues all the way to security concerns. And then the last one is operational procedures at 21%. So documentation all the way to backup and recovery. So yeah, this might seem a bit lighter, but trust me, the heat went up, right? The heat always goes up with the second and third exam that you need to take. So if we scroll all the way down to exam details, this is what the exam entails. This is where you'll find all the information you need about the exam. So starting on point 1, this is quite important as well, especially when you're planning your learning journey, right? So what they do is, we're currently on V15, apologies, and it is set to retire in 2028. So that means if I take Core 1 V15 today, I have until let's say March 2028 to write Core 2 V15. If I miss that mark, I cannot write Core 2 V16 with a Core 1 V15. So they always have to be the same version. What it will mean then is that I have to then start all over again, write V1 V16, this is in 2028, and then write Core 2 V16, right? So just be careful not to mix those up. So I always suggest, if you write Core 1 and you pass, get onto Core 2, a month or two right after. Don't drag it out, because you'll just find yourself having to retake everything all over again. And if you have the time, why not? You can just get it out of the way. So the length of an exam is roughly 90 minutes. And if you look at the second point on the second column there, the number of questions, or the maximum number of questions, are 90. So basically it's a minute, right? It's a minute for each question. And then under recommendation, please don't let this scare you. You don't need 12 months of hands-on experience to take this. You really can. All you need to do is just apply yourself. Give yourself probably an hour or two every day, Monday to Friday, weekends off. I don't know, you'll work it out. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is that if you dedicate yourself, if you put the time aside, review, do your tasks, go through the course, you'll be fine. Honestly, you'll be fine. And then if you look at the third point on the second section or the second tab there, the passing score. So I want us to actually focus on the difference between core 1 and core 2. So to pass core 1, you need 675 out of 900, right? And then to pass core 2, you need 700 out of 900. So the scale keeps going higher and higher the more you progress. So that's just something to watch out for, an indicator of the difficulty of the exam when it comes to CompTIA. Usually you'll see higher passing scores for the more difficult exams. But I say difficult, like I said, if you do what you need to do, dedicate yourself, set aside the time to do this, you'll be perfectly fine. And then the DoD 8140 approval work roles. So you can be a technical support specialist, system administrator, and cyber defense infrastructure support specialist. Now, I need to highlight something very important here. Just because you have this qualification, it does not mean that you will automatically qualify for these roles, right? IT is still a very competitive market, right? You have a lot of people who show up and who are madly talented. So you're also going to need to put in some work. But what this means is this course is one way to help you stand out amongst the many other things that you need to do for yourself and help yourself stand out, right, during interviews and on your CVs. But upskilling, it's definitely the easiest and the most important way to do this. So yeah, don't write the exam and then be expectant, to land roles left, right, and center. No, you still need to put in the work. You still need to sell yourself. But yeah, so this is the gist of it. Core 1, core 2. Any other information that you have, you can just come to CompTIA. You can navigate the website and they'll have all the information for you. So now that we know what we'll be looking at, we know what it entails, we can now go over and see how much it actually costs, right? Okay, so at the very top, these are exam products. So you purchasing a voucher, or you can think of it as a ticket to write an exam. So for the A+ voucher, this is just the ticket to write the exam. You're looking at 3.3 thousand. If you're not so confident and you don't think you'll make it on the first try, you can look at adding a retake assurance. So this basically gives you 2 chances to write the exam. Now, on this, I do suggest you read the terms and conditions. Check if you do get a refund, and if not, you have to gamble a bit. You have to scope the situation and see if you'll need to retake it or not. But essentially, if you've put the work in, I don't see why you'd need to retake it. But yeah, you know yourself, you know why you'd need to do that. So yeah, it's really up to you. Certification kit, I would not recommend this. I don't think you need this. Why I say this is after you write the exam, they're going to send you your certification, or you can download it from the portal. You can print it, you can share it on LinkedIn. So for me personally, I don't think this is a requirement. I've never needed to buy a certification kit. So if you want it, you can buy it. You can come over and check the description, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's needed at the moment. Now we can look at the learning products. So like I said before, with institutions like CompTIA A and Mesa, they are going to do this part for you. So it's going to come pre-bundled, everything. You'll have the exam, you'll have the courses, you'll have the labs, everything that you need. They are going to do it for you. If you can't do it through them for whatever reason and you want to do it on your own, you can do it. Now these prices are for both of them combined, right? So let's keep that in mind. Like I said, you can go back and you can see the individual costing. The flow is exactly the same. You can just follow what we've been doing on the other two pages, right? So for core 1 and core 2, the master platform, this is the entire course. So you will have access to the videos, you'll have access to the notes, you'll have access to the labs. All the information that you need to pass will be included in the master platform pack. So this is your course. This is the material you'll use to study and pass the exam, and practice test, if I'm not mistaken, should be included here. Let me see, just so I'm not lying to you. Okay, so it doesn't look like the practice tests are included here. Oh, but you get the labs. Yeah, so the labs and the lessons are here, but the practice tests are not. Okay, good thing I checked there. Yeah, so this is the entire course, and it's going for 10,400. Remember, core 1 and core 2, right? It includes both. And then master learn. So as you'll see, the prices also go down. So for example, if you don't need the videos, if all you want is just the labs, for example, and the courseware, then you can go for master learn. So that's 8,400. And then for the master practice, this is the practice questions, right? So it's the dummy exam. Yes, practice tests are there. So I need to warn you on this, right? So a lot of people will buy these packages and then assume that these are the questions that are going to be asked in the actual exam, and they start cramming the questions. This is not always the case, right? This is more of getting you in tune, or helping you understand how the questions will be phrased, how the software is going to look, the type of questions that they'll be asking. It's not to say that those are the questions that they're going to ask you word for word. So for example, you'll have drag and drop scenarios where on one side of the page they'll have a word like hardware, for example, or CPU or RAM, and they'll have many different definitions on the other side, and then you just need to link them to the correct word. So it helps you prepare, and it helps you see the style that they will be asking questions in. So just be careful with that, please. I've seen so many people who cram these questions and then go into the exam, and then it's like a total nightmare. You can imagine how that turned out for all of them. But yeah, you don't want to be caught doing that. Please don't do that. If you have 3,400 to spare, sure, you can do it, but I wouldn't suggest these unless this is your first IT exam that you're taking. Then maybe yes, to figure out how the questions would look like, the style, the software, and all of that. But yeah, look, it all depends on you, right? Yeah, I'm just here to help you out. But yeah, if you feel like you need it, go for it. But if you feel like you don't need it, then yeah, you'll be fine. And then the A+ core 1 and 2 master study. So these are just the notes. You'll get a PDF with everything that you need to study, and then you can just read that at your own time. And this is 2,200. Right. So they cater for everyone, right? If you feel like you don't need to listen to 24 hours or 25 hours of videos and do any coursework, then you can just get the practice with the labs. If you feel like you need as much support as you can get, then you can get the master platform, right? So this is how you are going to prepare for the A plus core 1 and A plus core 2. It does not get any better than this. You can substitute or add, rather, sorry, substitute is the wrong one. You can add YouTube videos and other courses maybe from Udemy, but I'd suggest that you start here and see how this feels for you. And if you do need additional help, then you can look at Udemy and YouTube and see what else is out there that you can use. So that is A plus covered. Now, for those who are interested in N plus, we can come over to the network tab, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see the network plus option. Right, so we're looking at N plus or network plus. The nice thing about N plus is that it's only one exam, so you don't have to worry much about the versions corresponding and all of that jazz that we don't need to worry about over here. Then on the far right, this is how your trophy token will look like after you pass the exam. Just a nice Easter egg for you there. So what is Network Plus? CompTIA N Plus is the premier certification for validating your knowledge of essential networking tools and concepts. You will be assessed on your abilities in network connectivity, documentation, service configuration, data centers, cloud, virtual networking, monitoring, troubleshooting, security hardening. This certification prepares you for jobs in technical support, network operation, and system administration. I did not want to skip this or not suggest it because I think it is a very important course. So from my history, my career history, that is, in almost all my jobs, some sort of networking knowledge is required. If you're looking at becoming a solutions architect, a solution engineer, technical support, yes, definitely. So like I said, I'm in IoT. I'm now starting to venture into AI, but networking is a huge part of it, right? So you need to know how these things work. It's a big plus. If you have the time, if you have the money, there's basically no reason not to do it. It's also not my favorite, I will not lie, but it has its benefits, right? It really has its benefits. Okay, so we can look at the objectives. Networking concepts. So 23% of the exam will be networking concepts. OSI model layers, very important topic that will be covered over there. And then IP4 addressing. Subnetting, guys, subnetting. But yeah, you're gonna learn all of this. Please don't let me scare you. I just have my own traumas, but it does not mean we're going to have the same traumas, right? 20% is going to be network implementation, so routing technologies to physical installations. IoT, basically, this was probably majority of my role, right? Covered over here. Network operations, 19%. So you're going to look at documentation all the way to access and management. Network security at 14%, so logical security all the way to security features and defense. Network troubleshooting, 24%, so troubleshooting methodology, tools and protocols. So just like A+, if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we'll be able to see the exam details. Now, the first thing I want to highlight is the passing score. Passing score has surpassed 700. We're looking at 720 on a scale of, I don't think that's supposed to be 100. I think they meant 1,000 to 900. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, unless they're saying it's impossible to get less than 100 in the exam. then it's between 100 and 900. Okay, either way, right, you need to get 720. And then the recommended experience, you need A plus. Well, it's recommended. I recommend it highly because the other thing, right, let me just give you an idea of what could possibly happen, or a scenario that could possibly happen. Because this is such an advanced course, they might use abbreviations or terminologies that were mentioned or explained in A plus, Core 1 and Core 2. And when you get here, there's no explanation. They just have the word there and they assume you know what it is or you know what it does, because the prerequisite is to have an A plus certification, right? So very important for you to go back, do A plus, do the entire A plus, and then try tackle this after that, right? Again, same setup. So they like the 90 minutes to 90 question ratio, so 1 minute per question. Then you have the different languages, and then their job roles pretty much going to be similar. Same concept applies, right? It's a nice to have, or it's a good to have. Apologies, right? It's a good to have. It will definitely help you stick out. And then when you go to buy now, let's see how much the exam is. Okay, so for an exam voucher, you're looking at 5,000. Yeah, N plus is a bit pricey. It's on the pricier side. So you're looking at 5,000. If you want that retake assurance, it's 575 extra and some change, but it's there if you need it. It's there. Again, you'll gamble, you'll scale, you'll see how ready are you. Certification kit, guys. I don't think you need this, but hey, man, you get a certificate that you can display, you can print it, proof on the go, carry proof of your certification everywhere with a durable plastic wallet size card, instant validation anytime. I can promise you, anyone who bought this has not needed to produce this. I can assure you. Like I explained, after you pass, they are going to email you the certificate, or you can come on the platform. You'll have a portal where you'll be able to download the set. If you want a personal recognition letter from the CompTIA CEO, go ahead, my man, buy this thing if you want it. Personally, I do not suggest it. You don't need it. And the learning product, so same concept. You have the master perform at 8,063 rand. This has everything, right? You'll have the videos, you'll have the labs, you'll have the course excuse me, and then you have the master learn, which I think is just the notes. So this is at 6,030. And then you have the labs at 2,300. So basically the same. So if you want to go into networking, this is the first place to start. For networking, then you can start looking at Cisco. After this, you have the CCNA, CCNP. Yeah, I can't remember what the others are. Yeah, my Cisco friends are gonna kill me, but yeah, essentially to add on to this, Cisco has some really proper networking courses. So once you're done with this, you can go into Cisco. If you're not into networking, if you don't think you're gonna do cloud, you're not gonna do data center configurations, virtual networking and all of that, from A plus you can then start streaming into it can be AI, it can be IoT. You can start looking at security, all data, all the other IT departments. right? Yeah, IT departments or skill sets or careers, rather, sorry. It took me a while to find the word I was looking for. But you can start now streamlining. But yeah, to break into IT, guys, honestly, if I had to add on to this, I'd be lying to you. This is probably one of the best methods. I don't want to say bulletproof, but pretty much close to as bulletproof as it can get. Yeah. Awesome. I hope that you really found that insightful. Again, if you have any topics, any questions, any suggestions, please don't be shy to drop them down in the comment section. I promise you, I'll look at them, I'll explore them. And from me, that's it. Cheers.